got our bushings done. We've got the pinion gear shaft made and the keyway put in it. So that is ready for Adam to weld up, and then it'll be ready to reinstall in the machine. I'm not going to do it on camera, but I will push out this bushing and make a new one and press it back in, and then another bushing that needs to go on another part of the lathe. So those will be off camera. It's very similar to what I've already done here. The last part though is I think going to be pretty interesting. So this little shaft here has got these grooves in it for ball detents, and these grooves here kind of act as a rack for a pinion gear, not this one, but a gear goes across it like that. But it can't just be a rack because it rotates. So those are just grooves with that profile on it. I went ahead and ground tool bits for each of these. I had two that were fairly close. I just had to change the angle a little bit on each of them. And then we've got this shoulder down here. So this is just a, I'm assuming, hard sleeve with that snap ring groove in it. So we've got this shoulder here, and then there's a groove here and here. I'm not exactly sure. Actually, that's not a groove. That's just different, just dirty. So this groove here has some purpose. So anyway, should be fairly interesting. I've got the lathe set up with the same piece of material we made this out of, which is 4140 pre-hard, and it's time to turn it down. Got my parting and grooving tool in here, and it stepped off from the center end of the shaft. So what we're going to do is go ahead and turn down this reduced section, and then turn that groove in there, and then we'll part it off, and then we'll hold it in the chuck up tighter, so that when we cut these grooves and these grooves, the part will be more stable. By the way, those of you saying this is a ridiculously slow way to do it, if you just parted it off and turned it around, you'd be able to turn that with a CNMG tool and be done with it really fast. you're absolutely right. I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not doing this because I want to do it the fastest way, because sometimes doing things a slow way or a different way is a whole lot more entertaining on YouTube than someone just optimizing everything. So anyway, I'll save you that comment. You don't need to tell me that this is a slow way to do it. I already know that. Almost got ahead of myself and parted this thing off without putting in my groove here. So I've stepped this off. This is 437 thousandths between these two shoulders. And we're just gonna touch off and then go 82 on either side. So 164 off the diameter. And let's turn this thing down a little bit. Just a high-speed blade, so don't want to go too fast. I may regret this very soon, but I just don't feel very good about putting this on that shaft. And yeah, the key and the set screw will hold it in position, but is it going to hold it, you know, off center? It's going to be a ton of run out because of how nasty that bore is. So I'm hoping that the teeth are hardened, but not the entire gear. We shall see. I just want to try and make that true if I can, and then I'll just make a quick, simple, you know, steel sleeve, so that as long as this one lasts, it'll run concentric with the shaft it's on. Like I said, I don't know. I may regret this in just a few minutes, but we'll see. It's pretty close, I think. Almost made a mess of that. I hadn't indicated my tool post. Wasn't paying enough attention earlier, so I just off camera I cleaned that face off and then drilled and tapped for that 1/4 hole. And forgot that this section here needs to be turned down, so this is thinner than the rest of it down here rather. Okay, this is the part I've been most concerned about. Just not really sure what to expect here. I'm going to start off probably too slow, but see how that goes. I'm just worried about the spacing and everything, and yeah, there's just some unknowns here because I was working off of such a poor sample part. All right, we're down to basically our last operation. I went ahead and centered up the tool on the end of the shaft and then measured over to where the center of it is supposed to be. And we are gonna get going. Don't have to take that much off of each side, so only going in 42 thousandths per side. So our depth of cut. It's looking okay. All right, that's 42. Yeah, not too bad. Just give those a bit of a polish up and basically be done. I think that is going to do it for this shaft and this part of the project. I think it turned out pretty well. Surface finish is decent. All my positions are as accurately as I could measure off of the sample part. This thing is obviously in horrible condition, and I had to guess on some of the dimensions, you know, what this used to be as opposed to what it is exactly right now. And I took the profile of these grooves off of the best one here and the same with over here. I think everything's on size and we'll see what happens. Adam gets his machine put back together and there's a fitment problem. He's just a few minutes down the road, so we can swing back by here and we'll get him squared away with the adjustments needed. So anyway, we've got just a couple more things to do. There are 2 more bronze bushings to make, one for this gear here. That one's very simple, just machine ID and then OD and then put a little groove down the middle with a threading tool for oil. And then the steel bushing for the gear that we've bored out, make a keyway in that, and then that part will be complete if that gear gets reused. And then just one more bronze bushing that T sent me a print for. So anyway, making some progress on this fun little project. It's been a little bit challenging and, you know, time consuming things when you're having to work from a junk part and making your own drawings and dimensions and measuring and everything. It, you know, it just takes time, but it's not difficult. So this has been a fun challenge, but a challenge nonetheless. Hey everybody, just wanted to give kind of an update on the project here. I didn't film a lot of this last part just because I needed to get this done as quick as possible, and messing with the camera does take time. So got this last bushing done. That one came out really nice, right on size, 7 TPI oil groove in there. I just measured with a thread gauge, and that's what it turned out to be. So I just copied that. Made another bushing, wait, I think it was this one, for another part of the lathe. I'm not exactly sure what. And then I thought about it back and forth a little bit, and I really didn't like the idea of leaving the really rotten bore in there. And so I thought, well, let me clean it up and then I'll make a bushing. And then I thought, well, then the bushing is going to have the keyway cut in it, and Anyway, so I went ahead and bored this out more, put a steel bushing in there, welded it in. As you can see, the remnants of the weld on there. I didn't, pay too much attention filling it everywhere. The bore itself is what we care about there. So I got that repaired in a better way. Obviously, Adam is still working on sourcing a brand new gear because this one is garbage, but it's less garbage than if I had just left it alone. So I'm going to let Adam mill the keyway and then file it out to its corners. I don't think I have a 3/16 broach and just running out of gas and time. So going to let him work on that. Everything else, worked out pretty well, I think. There's my little key I made. So that'll go in the shaft. This is basically what things will look like. Going to have those two bushings on there, and then this gear will be on like that, and that bushing will be on the end. Obviously the key will be inside the gear when it's got a key seat, or a keyway in the gear rather. And then with this guy, I think he said it goes on like this. And I think I mentioned at the beginning I got messed up thinking that this steel sleeve had a snap ring groove on it. It does not, it's just solid. So I think when Adam disassembled things, that's just where he left the snap ring. So I'm pretty sure, goes in that groove right there and holds this guy in place so it doesn't go back and forth. Why this is a bushing instead of just the shaft being solid there, I have no idea. But we've got our quarter 20 hole in the end of the shaft, and even got him a new socket cap head screw. It's new is better than old. So yeah, it's about what it looks like. And then those 3 bushings go on other areas of the machine, but I'm feeling pretty good. This has been a challenging project. The timing has been tough. I'm feeling pressure, not that he's being a jerk or anything, but he's wanting to get his machine going so he can run his business, and I've been working as quickly as I can within the realities of the rest of my schedule, and staying up late a couple of nights to bang this out because I want to help him, and I think we are successful in doing that. So that is the end of this project. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a lot of fun learning some new things and pushing myself with some of these features on these things that I hadn't done quite so much of on a single part, and a little bit nerve-wracking because of the time that would be lost if I scrapped it. I did not scrap anything except one bushing. So as I was making, I guess it was this one, I had this piece roughed out and got the OD to the major diameter, and then started making the bore, and my drill walked enough that as soon as I just made the bore smooth with my boring bar, it was oversized. So that was a bummer. Obviously took some more time to make a new one, but I had just enough material, so it was all right. And yeah, we'll get Adam back in commission here with his, it's an Acroturn by Namseon, I guess is the Korean maker of that machine. So I think it's a decent quality machine. It looks just like a Victor lathe like Adam Booth has. I'm assuming they're cousins or made in the same factory even, who knows. So I think once it's put back together and Adam takes care of a few other things, he's going to be in good shape with a good quality machine for his business. So thank you very much for watching. Appreciate it. You guys have a good one.